Joey Allen, welcome back to the show.
I know, man. I feel like we've never gone away here.
We don't. We never do, and neither does Warrant, thank goodness. And in fact, let's just face it, here back in June, you had kind of a seminal birthday. You turned 42, and I know it's rough. But you do well with those when the decades change like that.
42. I would love to be 42 again. My mind, I'm still like in my 20s, so I'm good.
Yeah.
I mean, I just now what it is I'm trying to stay healthy so I can make it to like 80 or 90, right?
Yes, like Mick Jagger up there all summer with the Rolling Stones, 81. We're in unprecedented territory here with a frontman 81 doing that kind of stuff.
Hey, my dad passed at 80 and Mick's rocking, man.
It's amazing.
And then Keith, look at Keith, everything he's done to himself.
It's incredible. And it's weird because, like, I'm sure you feel this or you've heard this, but whenever I was like, I don't know, I'm 40 now. So I'm like, in high school or something. Yeah. Right. In like 2002. And people are like, oh my God, those old, like Warrant and Winger, Kiss, they're all old. Like they're old bands. And like the bands that are still going and still going strong, and the ones that like Warrant that's out there, like I never hear like, well, those guys are old anymore.
Yeah, I don't know.
You've reached beyond the point of old, and now you just are.
I mean, we are. What's old? I mean, I can still play. I'm playing better than I ever have, so that's good. The band sounds fantastic. So I guess you're getting better with age, but sure, life goes on. Everybody, we're not fitting in the spandex. Hair goes away, all kinds of things change, and everybody tries to hold on to that candle or fountain of youth, and there's just is what it is. Some guys have the genes, some guys don't. Some guys work harder at it than others. I'm just, I'm a normal dude that plays in a rock band. There you go.
When you got a guy like Robert Mason as a singer, that kind of keeps everybody young. He's so youthful and spry and good looking. It's like everybody else has got to fall in line here. Right?
Oh, he's going to love you.
I know. I'm trying to get him back on. Like, is it working? But he's tremendous. I mean, gosh, he's been in the band now for 13 years.
Yeah,
I
think 14 is this September. So I've been in a band longer with him than I've been in a band with Jerry and Eric and Steven, but then he's the next one. So there you go.
How important has he been just solidifying this band and making it one of the more reliable live acts that all year, every year, you can count on Warrant's going to be out there doing? What do you guys do now? About 30, 40 dates a year?
We do about between 50 and 60.
Wow.
So he's super important. I mean, he's the guy out in front. He's the one besides Steven where the physical portion of what he does live is so important to take care of and nurture, nature, whatever you want to call it, just stay healthy. And he does it. He's a machine, he's I wish I could be half as disciplined as he is. He's super disciplined,
Wow.
Yeah. And Steven has that fountain of youth thing going on too. And he's the next guy with the physical gig. So those two guys, it's super important. And vocally, you have number 1 and number 2, and then it goes to number 3, 4, and 5. I mean, we're doing 4 and 5 part harmonies now. So, all that really matters to us,
Well, I know, and I want to make sure I bring it up. You guys are going to be here at Lake of the Ozarks, one of my favorite venues in the entire state here. Ozarks Amphitheater here on August 16th coming up. Can't wait to see you. It's been 2 years. And it was actually at the Black Oak Mountain Amphitheater 2 years ago in Branson, Missouri with Skid Row and Quiet Riot. I saw you guys last. So 2 years I've been waiting and hoping. Here we go. Great venue. You guys are coming up. You're playing with Firehouse and Great White here. Talk about bands that aren't maybe as fortunate. I mean, talk about, you play a lot of shows with Firehouse. CJ Snare passed away just a few months ago. What a great guy, amazing singer. Nate Peck's doing a great job for them. But just like, just talk about CJ. And I know you've played a lot of dates, so you guys had to have shared some times, and what a terrible loss that was.
Yeah, shock to us all. Robert had reached out to him. We played a gig with Firehouse. They're like brothers,
Yeah.
We played so many gigs with them since the Cherry Pie tour. Robert reached out to him. We did a gig with them in March, I think, and Robert reached out to him that night and said, "Hey, man, you're missed." And I think he got maybe his voicemail or something. I don't know, but and then his passing. I think when did he pass?
It was right after that, right in the early
April?
spring. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Just shocked because he was. I think he did talk to him. He's like, "Yeah, I'm coming back out. I'm getting healthier," because he was getting healthier. He had another surgery, and he was, getting healthier from that surgery and ready to come back out. He'd be out now,
Yeah.
And then we all just got the word, and it's a tremendous loss. It's a little, brings back a little bit of the sting from losing Janie, and and then you got Jack, Jack that's having a rough time now. So look, man, it's a tough business. CJ was a machine too. He didn't beat himself up. He liked to have a cocktail now and then, but he wasn't a drug guy from my perspective at all, which is good. But I think, that something else got him, and cancer's a bad word. But we miss him dearly. We've been working with the Firehouse guys. We support that band through thick and thin. They're our brothers. Nate is amazing with the band. He's a great guy. He fits right in with those guys. So you'll continue to see both bands out there playing those hits and doing the best we can without, the frontmen that helped either pen the songs or sing them on the records. So
I gotta be honest. I'm a huge, I am maybe the biggest that I know fan of the Dog Eat Dog album, which you guys played heavily a couple years ago on the 30th anniversary of that. But I noticed you guys are still keeping some songs in the set, and which is great because Dog Eat Dog's one of those albums that's either like it's your favorite album or maybe you never bought it at all. It was like came out and got all, it's literally almost to the day in 92. So
wow.
32 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's either like it's your favorite Warrant album or maybe it missed you completely. It's weird.
I think some of the people that were into Cherry Pie and that type of pop rock didn't get Dog Eat Dog. Dog Eat Dog came out at a difficult time. It was a great record. Columbia didn't really get behind it. I thought the first single should have been "Hole in My Wall" with like a dark Disneyland video, but we've picked Machine Gun. So, coulda, shoulda, woulda. It's still a great record. We still play at least one song in the set, always from that record. I don't know if we'll ever do more than one song. We've done things like Bridges.
Bridges is great.
Machine Gun. We're currently doing "Hole in My Wall," so I got the talk box out on the road. It is what it is. It's a great record. So, it'd be fun to do Inside Out. It'd be fun to do April 2031 or, Bitter
Andy
Pill,
Warhol. Warhol would be great.
Yeah.
Why not?
That we've got a keyboard player now, which is cool. So we might be able to do some of that stuff that's got a lot of orchestration in it and everything. We don't play to track. So we're really stepping our game up with our keyboard player. And it sounds great. Sounds great live right now.
I thought Louder, Harder, Faster, which came out. It's crazy that it's been out for 7 years now. Louder, Harder, Faster. I think a great album that really solidified, this lineup. Robert is the singer. There's some great songs on there. I know you guys still play like the title track. I think Devil Dancer though is maybe the unsung hero, maybe one of the better songs in Warrant's entire catalog. What are your kind of memories of Devil Dancer? I think you guys did a video for that too. Great song.
No, I don't.
Did you not?
So.
Louder, Harder, Faster had a video.
That was it.
That was it. Okay.
Devil Dancer is a great tune. It was going to be called. Was that something? No, that wasn't the one. There was another one. There was I'm trying to think of one of the songs had a different title, but that wasn't it. That was a Robert Mason tune. I think he worked with Jerry on that. That's a great tune. That's fun. We played it live. We might have even played it live last time you saw us.
I think so.
We played it live, but people just don't. The thing is when you've got a catalog from way back when and there's hits and everything and everybody's used to the first two records, if you play something completely new, people are like, "What's that?" And they're just looking at you like, "What's that?" And that's a hard pill to swallow. It's a bitter pill to swallow, Clint.
Well,
when you are on stage looking down. So we've tried stuff like that. It's fun for us to play because it's new, but I doubt you'll see that one in the set much. It would be
I,
nice though.
musicians seem to kind of go two ways when it comes to like, oh, what's your favorite songs to play? A lot of times I'll ask and they'll say, well, it's whatever the fans like the most. Okay. So maybe it's pour some sugar on me because the fans react to that the most. And it's this high. For some, it's like, no, it's the songs that maybe that I wrote or that has a sentimental meaning or that's a deep cut. Like, where do you fall in that? Is the way you kind of alluded to, it's like the ones that get the audience's reaction the most. Are those your favorite songs too?
No, I like the heavier stuff.
Okay.
I like the Sure Feels Good and Uncle Tom's Cabin and Rainmaker and Inside Out.
Yeah.
I like the heavier stuff. It's guitar wise, it's a lot funner to play for me. And it's just stuff that I really get into as a musician. So that's it. I mean, I'm not taking away from anything in the hits. I like that stuff as well. It's nice to have people just want to hear that and sing along. I mean, Heaven, people sing along. It's crazy every night. People sing that song. It blows my mind. I look out, I see people singing it. It's an amazing feeling. But for me, just playing wise and being up there, the heavier stuff for sure.
Which is why I always thought about, that's why Bridges Are Burning is one of my favorite songs. It's got that riff. It's my favorite Warrant riff. Was that you or Eric that came up with that?
Actually, Janie Lane came up with that.
Mm.
So he was the tunesmith, man. But he would bring a riff in, and he could play guitar pretty decent. And then you just put your seasoning on top of it. So when you hear that riff on that record, that's me. That's me firing off the first time you hear that riff. But that was a great record to do with Michael Wagner. We had a producer that we got away from Bo Hill, who was very drums and vocal oriented and just very production, and it has to sound this way. And those records worked for us, so no disrespect, but it was a lot funner making a record with Michael Wagner because he got, we spent like, I think 2 days picking rigs for guitars to play through. It was great.
That Michael is one of those guys. Great White, the guys in Great White can attest to that too. He's a legend and did some really good work. It's been 7 years now. You kind of talked about how the new songs that you feel like don't always go over live as well. Has that been a catalyst? Do you feel like that you don't want to make any more albums? Would you do singles even?
The ultimate question. Making a new record or recording for us is like a ticking time bomb. It's like you put a ticking time bomb in a room with 5 guys that are in a band that have been in a band for a long time. Some of us have been with each other for over 30 years, in and out of, and you're sitting there waiting for the bomb to go off and see who's going to get blown up first, because basically it's you got 5 guys, you got 5 egos, you got people that are writing songs or riffs here and there, and then you put here's the blender, here's all the songs, who wants to, and we go through and we pick them. So 5 guys get a top, you pick from 1 all the way down to, like, let's say there's 20 songs in the blender to 20, and then you get, okay, we're going to record 12, so the top 12 go. And if you've got a song in there or a riff in there that's number 13, then you just got blown up.
Right.
And then you might have you might be a little butthurt, right? So you go into the recording and you're just like, oh, and we've done it this is from way back when we were doing Dog Eat Dog. There was a song called Pop Music that was on the list. And it was like the answer to Cherry Pie. It was very pop rock. And I remember we demoed we recorded the drums, and I think the bass in California. And then we moved everything to Tampa to Morris Sound Studios to do the rest of it for Dog Eat Dog. And when we were in there and that song came up, I think it was Michael Wagner and I that just went, this song does not fit this record. And we had a meeting that night and just said, hey, this song does not fit this record, and everybody conceded, and we went on. So that song never saw the light of day. Knowing now, what I know, to where people looked at Dog Eat Dog and took it as such a departure from what they liked, the masses, with Cherry Pie and Blind Faith and I Saw Red and all that stuff. Maybe we should have kept on the path everybody was used to, but that's just not what bands do, you know? Bands change paths all the time.
I wanted to ask you about kind of when you joined Warrant in 1987. They'd already been around a couple years and toiling around, touring, playing shows around LA. What did you see Warrant as at the time you joined? Were you like, okay, they haven't quite made it yet? You know, we've looked around and seen every band on the Sunset Strip come up and get the record deal and get famous and get on MTV. Did you view them as someone that was on the cusp of that? Or were you just like, hey, I need a gig, let's do it? Like, what was your perception at that time?
Well, I knew Eric because Eric and I were in a band before Warrant.
In high school, right?
Like at the end of high school. So basically, I was in bands in Orange County, but I lived in LA. I lived in Hollywood, and I would drive into my job every day, which was Jackson Charvel Guitars out in San Dimas. And then I'd go from San Dimas to Orange County, and I'd rehearse at night, and I'd drive back to Hollywood. And I was doing that whole, triangle 2 or 3 times a week where I'd go to Orange County. And then I just was in LA so much, and I saw the scene in LA was just so much more fruitful than the scene in Orange County, that even though the band I was in Orange County was a fun band to be in, I just knew business-wise that I needed to be in LA. And so I started auditioning for a bunch of bands in LA while I was in that band, and ultimately ran into Eric, at Sunset and Doheny across from Gil Turner's. Same time they were looking for a guitar player. So things happen for a reason. And when I auditioned and heard the music, I went and saw him first live at a backyard party in the Valley. And then I thought that the band was good, and the guy that I was there to replace, I thought I wouldn't have much of a problem at the time, taking care of that, and I just wanted to work, so just drive and be in a band where, they already had a great draw in LA. So it was all it was a good package for me. And then Eric, is a brother from another mother. So that made that easy.
Were you a guy did you hang out a lot on the Sunset Strip and go see all these bands? Were you like seeing Motley at the Whiskey and all that? Like, or were you kind of?
I saw a lot of different bands. I went one time. I went to the Starwood, to where I thought I was going to see Van Halen. I went with Lars Ulrich from Metallica before.
Wow.
Way before Metallica way before he jammed with James. It was back when he started and was playing with Lloyd. I was in a band with him for a while, for about 6 months. And we went up there, and it was Snow. And the band Snow was Carlos Cavazzo, Tony Cavazzo, and 2 other dudes. And then a band called Smile played as well, which was the guitar player that ended up being in Eddie Money's band, Tommy Gervin, who's a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
And so things like that, yeah. I never saw Motley in clubs, but they were playing around clubs the same time I was, when I was really young. In Orange County, the Woodstock, Radio City, people from the area will remember those names. But I didn't see a lot of those bands live. I went out to the Strip a lot, but I had a day gig, so I had to be up at 8 a.m. And a lot of guys that were out just played music and lived on couches and didn't eat much. And I just always worked. So I wouldn't be out too late, So
you were kind of the grown-up one of the LA Sunset Strip scene. You had a job and stuff, so you were like,
I had a job. I don't know if I was grown up, but I had a job.
What you still live? You still live out there, right?
Yeah, I'm south of LA about 50 miles, and I still have a gig.
It's how about it?
I still work a day gig. I mean, you know, when we tour and we're starting, I think we got 7 dates or 8 dates in August here, and I've got some. I think I'm home 8 days in the month.
Yeah, I was just looking at your schedule, and go to warrantbox.com right now and you check them all out. I mentioned August 16th, but you guys start up next week back in Dixon, North Dakota. So yeah, coming right up.
And then 2 days later, we're in Long Island.
Yeah, that's I don't know. My geography's decent, but like that's a little bit of a turnaround and a little bit of some travel in there.
Our agent, who we all love dearly, this is how he books. I think we joke about how he books us, and this is a joke. He'll laugh at it, but you put a blindfold on our agent. You take a map of the U.S. that's on a tether, you swing it back and forth, it's moving, you spin him around a few times, give him some darts with numbers on them, and he starts chucking them at cities. Then that's where we tour. But in all reality, our agent does a fantastic job, and it's just we go where we get offers that work for the band. So we're happy to play in what is it, Dickinson, North Dakota.
Yeah.
And then turn right around and go out to Farmingville, out on Long Island. So we're fired up.
You guys have become the band that's like, it's kind of one of those anywhere, any place, anytime. It could be a biker fest in Daytona. It could be a big amphitheater here, like the Ozarks, that seats 20,000 people. Where, major acts, the Beach Boys just played there. I've seen Alabama there. It's a giant venue. It's going to be great. You guys played there with Dawkin and Firehouse. It's been about 2015, almost 10 years ago. So you guys have played this venue with Dawkin before. You guys headlined with Dawkin. So yeah, so you guys are just anywhere, any place, anytime. And it's like, when you look at it, it could be a festival, like a weekend festival at a casino. I mean, it literally could be anywhere. And there's something very kind of charming about that you guys literally, it could be anywhere, any place, anytime.
Yeah. Look, there's a few bands from the genre that are able to do arenas still, that are able to get together and do, even stadiums, like Def Leppard's doing fantastic. Friends of ours, Phil Collins, a very good friend of mine. I've known him since 1985, believe it or not. And, to see that kind of success is amazing. And to ever get onto something like that, even as a third or fourth act, would be great. But, we do what we do. We're happy to play 50, 60 shows a year. It could be a state fair. It could be a casino. It could be a club. It could be 500 people, or it could be 10,000 people. It just doesn't matter what it is. There's a lot of people out there that think, bands like ours or Firehouse or, Skid Row, that we can't fill seats, but that's not the way it works. We definitely fill seats. We're selling tickets, and that's why we can come and play a gig like we're playing, near you, and then turn around and go do a state fair, or turn around and go do a bike fest. Or look, a gig's a gig. If anybody has a problem with a gig's a gig, then they're probably not gigging.
Dude, we could take it a step further, because I know my guy Mike Trant from White Lion, Ted Poley from Danger, they'll do backyards, man. They'll just do it. Hey, fly me out. I'll play an acoustic set. Let's do it. I mean, hey, don't write it off just yet. We could make that happen.
A gig's a gig. I love Ted to death, man. Ted, we've done a lot of gigs where Ted's been there, and Ted's a good guy, but a gig's a gig, man. And I don't, I even what do they call them? The tribute bands, or cover bands. It doesn't matter. A gig's a gig. If you love music and you love playing music, a gig's a gig.
Well, Joey, it's just always such a pleasure, and I'm such a fan. I can't wait to see you here coming up August 16th, and best of luck here the rest of the summer. But before we let you go, I got to hit you with the final 4 drum roll, 4 quick wins, and you give us whatever comes to mind. We'll have some fun with it.
All right.
This could be a tough one. This is like, you might have to wade through some data here for this one, but what's the first concert you ever remember attending as a fan?
The very first concert I ever went to was Cheap Trick and Kiss on the Love Gun tour. At the Forum, and I think it was 77. Would that be the right year? It was a live 2. It was the one they said that they recorded a live 2, but I think a live 2 was Houston, maybe.
Slash the Electric Lady Studio.
Yeah, whatever it was. But it was the Love Gun. It was the Love Gun tour, and Cheap Trick was the first guitar or band I ever saw live, and Rick Nielsen was the first guitar player I ever saw live. And every time I open for Cheap Trick, I find Rick somewhere, and I always remind him of that, and we get a good laugh out of it. And huge Cheap Trick fan.
Yeah, so that leads, I can go with this one in question number 2, because I just about a month ago went and saw Chris Jericho's band Quarantine. They play all the 80s Kiss stuff. Do you have a favorite non-makeup Kiss album or song? Because I love that era. Like, I'm an Animalized guy. I love Asylum, of course, Revenge.
Yeah, Revenge probably is it because Eric Singer is such a monster player.
Exactly.
I didn't. I went and saw the Creatures tour, but they still had makeup on, right?
Yeah, but that
Um,
I know I love
that
that
was,
album though.
that
So.
was with Benny, and that's a good record. So, and I love Bruce. Bruce is fantastic. So I'd have to say Revenge for sure.
Yeah, Revenge. I'm actually a closet. Because we had Desmond Child on a couple months ago, and I'm like, man, I love the work that they did on Crazy Nights. I love that album, even though it sounded like it could have been like a pop band, but I love it anyway.
Yeah, some good music, man.
What's the first album you bought with your own money or that you stole?
I bought 3 at the same time. I don't know which one I picked out of the bin first.
What?
The Cars' first record, Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band. I think it was Night Moves. If that's a record or not, it's the one with Night Moves on it.
I think it is. That's
and
it.
then the Who Are You?
That's amazing. And
I drove my motorcycle. I was 15. I had no license. I had a little mini bike. I drove it to the Warehouse Records on Bristol and Costa Mesa, California. Bought them, put them in my backpack, and on the way home, I got pulled over and got a ticket. No license.
Those albums that you saved up for like cost extra there because of the ticket.
I think there were $4 or $5 at the time.
I love the Cars. Like being my age, I missed so many bands of the 70s. You know, by the time I was old enough to go to concerts, they were like done. Benjamin Ord already passed away.
Right.
And they went in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Then Rick Ocasek passed away. It's like I missed so much.
Yeah, I didn't see them live, but I'm a big fan of the Cars.
Yeah, so. They're amazing. What is one Warrant song that if it was just up to you, the band said, Joey, we're letting you pull one out tonight that we haven't played in a while or ever? What song would that be?
Off Dog Eat Dog. I'd love to play Inside Out live again.
That's just.
We used to open up. We opened up with that on part of the Cherry Pie tour.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's right. I think I've seen some footage of that.
There's a gig from a place called the Cajun Dome in Lafayette, Louisiana.
Yes.
And if you look at that, we open up with Inside Out, and that's one where a lot of people were looking at us like first song out. They're thinking they're going to hear Down Boys or something, and we just popped that one out. It's a lot of fun.
That is tremendous. Joey, it's always a pleasure, man. We'll see you coming up here August 16th. Have a great tour rest of the summer. Always appreciate it, my friend, and we'll do it again here in the not too distant future, my brother.
Looking forward to seeing you in a few weeks, buddy. Be good.
You bet. Thanks a lot.
Peace.